Welcome to 7 days of chaos with Jean, because that's how many days I have until my PhD is due for submission. And absolute last day I can submit. Although technically I guess it's 8 days, but in my head I only have 7 days left to work on it. So we're in the final week and I thought, why not try and vlog it? Partly for you guys to witness the absolute downward spiral I'm about to experience, but also kind of for myself as a posterity thing. I would kind of love to be able to look back and see what was going through my mind the final week of writing or editing, we should say, my PhD. For those of you who don't know, my name's Jean Meas. I have been doing a part-time PhD in ancient history / classics for the past 6.5 years, which is absolutely well to me, at the University of Roehampton, which at the moment, unfortunately, I can't actually advocate that you go study at because they are axing masses and masses of arts and humanities departments, including my own. So we're not on super good terms with Roehampton, but it's the final stages. I'm just going to get my PhD submitted and do all of that jazz. And we can, talk more about the downfall of academic studies in post-92 universities on another day and how that affects people from working class backgrounds. So but yeah, I do kind of expect this vlog to be a little bit chaotic. I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know what information I'm going to end up sharing. If it's going to be interesting, if it's going to be more about my mental health, or if it's going to be more about ancient history. Who knows at this stage? I'm just intrigued to see and have this to look back on. But I also thought it might be fun for you because so many of you have been here throughout that journey, throughout my studies, because I was already here on BookTube before I even began my PhD. Some of you have been here since I was doing my undergraduate in classics at Edinburgh University. So that's wild, and I thought it'd be fun to finally polish things off together. As you can tell, I'm also back in a familiar setup. I am in my mum's house. I do own my own flat in Edinburgh these days. However, I just wanted the comfort of home. There was something quite nostalgic and peaceful about coming home amidst this period of turmoil, and my mother has also offered to cook me dinners. So wish me luck and hope I don't get poisoned. But it's kind of nice to just have that level of comfort and be somewhere familiar, because we did only move into our flat quite recently and we're still in the processes of decorating, etc. So yeah, I'm here at my mom's house. I'm chilling. I'm not chill at all. I'm the opposite of chill. I'm really hot. What's the opposite of chill? I am a mess. I'm an absolute mess. I feel I look a bit more composed today than I have done in the past few days, but I am definitely a bit of a mental mess. At the same time though, I'm starting to feel this slight level of detachment from the whole experience because it's being submitted so soon. Finally, I have to submit it on the 31st of July, and today is the 22nd. Or the 23rd, I don't even know what day it is. It's Saturday, and the 31st is a Sunday. I just feel quite nice. I do have this sense of stress and worry about how much I can achieve in the next 7 days, because the thing is, I could continually edit this thing forever. I could add more and more and more. I could expound and expound and expound. I could edit, I could build on it and build on it and build on it, but you have to draw a line somewhere. So I'm also very much in the final stages of deciding what's the priority, what gets cut, what gets rewritten, what gets fixed, and what gets abandoned. So that is very stressful, but at the same time, knowing that it's actually about to be over is this massive relief. I'm just so happy. I'm so done. Don't get me wrong, I love ancient history, I love classics. I have loved a lot of the stages of my PhD, but I am not having fun anymore, and that is what I believe is the general consensus when it comes to PhD studies. Everyone's a bit of a mess at the end. At least that's my experience from the other PhD researchers that I know in my life. So yeah, this is not a unique experience. I did, however, in terms of updates, get an official Viva date. So I got an email 2 or 3 days ago, sometime this week, from the university with an official Viva date. So if you're not familiar, the Viva is basically the examination for your PhD. It's up to 5 hours, like we set aside 5 hours, but it might not last that long, of discussion and question and answering with 2 examiners. So I'll have somebody internal from the University of Roehampton and someone external from another university. For me, it's from St Andrews, and we'll be sitting down and they will have read my thesis and they will ask me questions about it. They will expect me to defend it and elaborate and expound on it and all of that fun stuff, and then give me whatever corrections they believe I need to make in order to get my doctorate. So yeah, that's in October, which is like very nice to have this official date. There's something very like satisfying about having a date, like that is the date of my exam, of my 5 hours. So yeah, I do feel good about that as well. But my body and mind are definitely like pretty run down, and I expect to crash after this week, if not during this week. I'm also due for my period next week, which couldn't have been worse timed. Like, why would I get my period in the final week of doing my PhD? I don't know, other than just like a curse from the universe. So there's that, but hey ho, we must carry on. So I'm about to pop to the shops, get some more coffee to keep me going, etc, etc, and then come back to do some work. So I will check in with you then. What's she doing now, you ask? I'm sure you weren't, but I'll tell you, because got to record something. So I've got 7 days to go, and I'm rewriting the conclusion of chapter 3 of my thesis. So for anyone interested, there are 3 main chapters that make up the body of my thesis. I have an introduction, 3 chapters, and a conclusion. And I'm rewriting the conclusion to chapter 3. I've been rewriting all the conclusions to chapters 1, 2, and 3, which I think sounds like more than it is. I'm not saying that it's not a lot, it's all very stressful and everything, but the conclusions in terms of actual length are very small compared to the rest of the thesis. Like, my conclusions for each chapter range from about like 800 to 1,200 words. They're not incredibly long, and the chapters themselves range from about, I think, 15 to 18,000 words. So they're like a fractional, and they're basically just a summary of the chapter. Not quite a summary, but, like they're a summary with a little oomph and a little, punching of the argument and drawing it out. All in one place after having outlined it with deep analysis over many, many, many words. We're then summing up in a fewer words. So I'm trying to rewrite that just now. Honestly, the words at this point are all blurring together. I'm not quite sure anything makes sense. I'll read you the beginning of the conclusion for anyone that's interested. But out of context, it probably will mean nothing. And I should also mention a content warning generally for this video, that I probably will mention sexual violence and sexual assault, because that is the topic of my thesis. For anyone interested, in fact, I do have a whole other video on the topic of my thesis, which is the politicization of sexual assault in 4th century Athens. And I'm looking at the way sexual violence, and particularly mythological incidents of sexual violence, are used as rhetorical tools by orators and speech writers and speech makers during the 4th century democracy in Athens. So we have, in this chapter, I have conducted a thorough examination of the way in which the mythological sexual assault of Alcippe and the subsequent trial of her father Ares for the murder of her attacker have been employed in 4th century oratory. Based on the consistent and comparable application of this myth in 2 forensic speeches composed by the orators Demosthenes and Dinarchus, I have argued that Ares' trial, accompanied by the trial of Orestes, should be considered a topos of democratic Athenian rhetoric. Obviously that's not enough, so it's not blank paper after that, it's just much more messy text that I'm rewriting. So yeah, just want to make sure they all tie together and really sum up the arguments. So I'm trying to do that, but it's making less and less sense to me by the day, and I just hope that's not the case for my Viva examiners. Examiners? Oh my god, I can't use English language. Whew. I'm gonna go. My head is so sore and it's only 6 p.m. So I've decided I've spent too much time on screens for a while. I'm gonna lie in my bed and read my book, so I'm not on the screens. And then have my dinner, which my mum is making for me, which is really nice. But all the words are just swimming at this point. Like I said, I had 3 conclusions, one for each chapter, and then a conclusion for the overall thesis. And I sent my lovely friend Grace, who recently submitted her PhD thesis, one of the introductions I'd rewritten, and I was like, does this make sense? Because I can't tell anymore. And she was like, the content is fine, but I'd reread it after you've had a sleep. And I'm like, I'm glad the content is right, because that's fine. And hopefully that in particular I'll be able to look at in the morning with fresh eyes and be like, oh right, yeah, no, that sentence structure isn't quite right, or like whatever. I love the way she expressed that. It was just like, oh my god, Grace. Save me. But if you're interested, this is my current read. In times of stress, my go-to genre is thriller. For whatever reason, usually supermarket thrillers, because when I'm stressed I buy books in the supermarket, and that's what I did with this. I got this in Sainsbury's for £8 for hardback. It's called Truly Darkly Deeply, by Victoria Selman, and it's about a woman whose like stepfather and turns out to be a serial killer when she was like 12, and she's now like in her 30s, and he's always maintained his innocence, but he was convicted guilty, and he sent a letter asking for her to come visit him. And it's like, did he do it? Did he not? What's going on? How did they never know if he was doing it? I don't know. About 92 pages in. And it is the level of ridiculous thriller escapism that I clearly need. So yeah, screens off, read in bed. Of course, when I sit down to relax with my coffee this morning, early on before I start work, and watch a little bit of The Mentalist, which is my current show, it would be an episode about a bunch of absolutely mad graduate students killing each other in the cutthroat world of academics. Like, what? Why? Why you remind... I mean, that's obviously not my experience, but seriously? Why is it even anything to do with academics?
I think it's time for some almond cold brew. Does anybody else get this stuff occasionally? It's so freaking tasty. It's basically like coffee flavoured milk. It's very thick. But it's so expensive given how quickly you drink it, so it's like a treat, cold coffee for me, rather than just making it myself. And right now I need treats.
Got my coffee, getting some vitamin D. This is one of the other major benefits about being at home right now, that my mum has a garden, which I do not, so I can sit outside and do a little bit of work and catch some vitamin D and just, I don't know, absorb nature. The bees are buzzing and the birds are tweeting, and there's something quite nice about that. My skin is not very happy with me right now. I've talked about this before, but I've suffered with dermatillomania, which is like compulsive skin picking. It's a form of OCD and like an expression of anxiety since I was a teenager. And I mean, if I'm going to be anxious anytime, it's going to be now. So it's a little bit scratched up, particularly on my chin. I've got quite a bad excoriated patch. It is what it is right now. I'm currently rewriting the actual conclusion for my thesis, which again isn't like as long as you would think it was. When I started writing a PhD, I thought the conclusion would be almost as long as the introduction, because why wouldn't it be? But actually a conclusion for a PhD in humanities, based on all of the ones I've read and friends have submitted, it's like between like 1,000 and 2,000 words. It's not that long, relatively speaking, to the whole length of the thesis. So I'm just writing that down. I'm actually quite pleased with how the redrafting of that is going. Obviously I had a version of it, but I'm rewriting it and I think it's much better, and I'm pleased with that. So obviously a fresh mind is working well. I haven't quite tackled reading the stuff I wrote yesterday that Grace told me to reread yet, but I will once I'm done with this. I did, however, get some post. Some books arrived in the post that I ordered as a way of coping with my stress, other than picking my skin. So thought you might enjoy a little book haul. Don't know what the best position to do this in. Okay, that'll have to do. I picked up A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall, which is a historical Regency romance with a trans protagonist, which I've heard such good things about and I'm super excited to read. So
yeah, been meaning to pick that one up. Another one that everyone's been raving about and quite a few people have recommended to me specifically is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, which is a self-published novel, very much low stakes fantasy. Like, it's that hope punk genre that I always talk about, that I wrote my own book in, where it is fantasy and obviously there's fantastical things happening, but there's also lots of nice things happening and the characters are kind to one another, and it's a queer romance between a lady orc and a lady something else. I actually don't know what the other magical creature is, but they work in a cafe, and that just sounds so cute. Then we have A Master of Crows, which is the first in a Grace Draven series I haven't read yet. Grace Draven is one of my favourite fantasy romance authors. Her books are so beautiful. Her characters are so complex and deep, and I love them, so want to pick that up. And then lastly, a pre-order of a very exciting new release, which is The Family Remains by Lisa Jewell. So this is the sequel to The Family Upstairs, which is a book that when I read, I had no idea we'd be getting a sequel. Like, it ends in a way that you don't expect a sequel, but also as soon as you know there's a sequel coming, you're like, I can see where that sequel can pick up from. So I'm super excited for this because I love Lisa Jewell's thrillers. But yeah, these are my haul books I hauled to keep myself going, although I can't read any of them until I'm done. But hey ho, there we have it. I'm going to need to buy a new bookcase soon for the flat because I'm running out of space. But I better get back to work. Thanks for checking in with me. I feel like I'm reasonably held together right now. We'll see how that manifests by the end of this period. I will say last night I did not sleep very well. I had a ton of nightmares about footnotes. Like, I was having nightmares about changing footnotes and mistakes in footnotes and needing to add things in, and it was just it really was the antithesis of PhD nightmare. So yeah, I didn't sleep particularly well, but now I'm chilling and relaxing outside, which is nice. I hate Edinburgh. It started raining, and it wasn't supposed to rain until 2, and it's only 10. I have genuinely just started to disassociate from this whole experience. I feel like 6.5 years worth of exhaustion are catching up with me, and I am just finding that I managed to edit a few sentences or write a banging footnote and or update something in the thesis, and then I just do this for half an hour, and I'm not even aware of the time passing, and all I want to do is sleep. I've got a funny feeling that might be what I do after I actually submit this thing, but at the same time I have stuff I need to do right now to finish it. So how am I supposed to find the energy to do it? That's what I need to know. Thing is, it's going to be too late once I've uploaded this video. But yeah, just to be real with you all, this is just what keeps happening. I just keep zoning out and sort of sleeping with my eyes open, I think is the best way to describe it. Just going for a stupid walk for my stupid mental health in the fresh, rainy air. It's actually quite nice. It is quite nice, and I need to pick up my prescription, so it's multi-purpose. So I thought I'd just update you. I think what I'm finding at this point is the most difficult part is finding the motivation, apart from the exhaustion. And just it's fine, I'm here. And just the general workload. Oh my god, what is wrong with me? I'm really struggling to find the motivation. This is 6.5 years worth of work, 6.5 years worth of my life. And at this point, I am struggling to care. I know objectively I do care, and I've cared for years, and I will care in a few months. But right now, with the submission date so close, I just want to be done with it. I'm really struggling to find the motivation to change certain things. I'm doing it, but there's a sense of disassociation and apathy towards it all. It feels very just fine if I have to. And
you do struggle a little bit with that mentality. Like, I can't help it. It's just, I think what happens from my experience chatting to other PhD students, I just do not care. I do care because I want my doctorate and I want it to be good, but like right now in this moment, I don't care. I hate it. I just want it to be done. Yeah. And then I'm really struggling because I'm going back and forth between like, I don't care, just get it away from me. And the other part of me is like, I don't want to screw this up. Like, I don't want to screw this up. I don't want to have not done the best job I can possibly do. I don't want to have wasted my time. I don't want my apathy right now to ruin all of this work, if that makes sense. So it's like very difficult, and I'm on a bit of an emotional roller coaster, going between like, don't care, it'll all be fine. Well, actually, I feel like there's like a few different ones. There's the don't care, take it away from me. There's the it's all going to be fine. And then there's the oh my god, there's so much to do. And then there's oh my god, what if I screw this up? This thing that I've invested so much of my life in. And I do kind of feel like crying. I'm waiting for the tears. Like, I feel like there is going to come a point in this week where I am just going to cry because I think it's necessary. Crying can be very healthy, and I've been bottling up a lot of my emotions and just like powering through of late. So I feel very much on like a tightrope wire of emotion, and I think I'm gonna cry at some point. So yeah, I just want to get it done, but I also obviously want it to be good, but I also like don't know what I can achieve in this limited amount of time. I want to use the time as productively as I can, and I'm just like a wreck of emotions and things going on, and that is a waste of time. But like, also, as much as you say, oh, all these emotions and anxieties are a waste of time, you can't change the fact that you're feeling them. So hey ho, maybe I need to have some lunch. I think maybe that's the solution for this particular hour in my life. Oh hey, you know how you know I've lost the plot? I just pre-ordered the new Sims expansion pack. So if you're not a Sims player or Sims 4 player, you might not know, but there is a new expansion pack coming July 28th. So 3 days from now, it's 25th right now, which is high school years. And there's been a lot of buzz about it. It actually looks like one of the best expansion packs / packs in general to have come out in maybe a couple of years. I don't know, Cottage Living was pretty good actually, but like this year for sure. And I never pre-order Sims packs. Like, I love the Sims 4, but I don't pre-order them because typically they'll be on sale in a few months. Like, they're always reduced constantly. But you know what? Hang on, I'll turn the camera around. Do you know what? When I submit this PhD, 3 days after this Sims expansion pack comes out, and I promise I will not play it before then, it will be a treat. What am I going to want to do? I am going to want to do something incredibly mindless, and that's going to be The Sims. So I'm going to have this treat waiting for me 3 days after. No, 3 days after it comes out, I'll submit my PhD, and I'll have this wonderful treat waiting for me, and I'll just be able to mindlessly dive into the world of Sims gaming for 24 hours or something and just lose it in high school academic life, but in The Sims, because what else would anyone want to do after finishing a PhD but play high school in The Sims? I don't know. And it looks like it's got a lot of fun new content, so I'm very excited by that. Yeah, that was my Sims side bar for this video. Now I'm going to go back to doing my PhD. I've been on the verge of tears all day, but that cheered me up, spending money. PhD holiday mode, that's what we're in. Just sitting outside in the sunshine with my iced coffee, pretending I'm not having a mental breakdown. Yesterday I was a mess by the end of the day. Like, really not in a great place. But I genuinely am one of those people that wakes up and has a much better perspective on things in the morning and feels a lot better about things and much more excited about things and positive about things. And then by the evening, I really struggle. And I definitely have like a dip in the day that I pick up and then dip again. I'm a morning person is what I'm trying to say. So today I'm up, I'm getting on with it. I'm trying to let go of the fact that I can't change everything and that I can't like spend another 2 months on the thesis. Like, I feel as though there is always going to be something more that you can do, and that's something that a friend of mine, Jose, who started at the same time at Roehampton doing his PhD but was full-time, so submitted before me, has always said to myself that you have to just cut it off at a point. You have to just go, look, I'm not changing anything, I'm not adding anything, I'm not doing anything more. So I'm trying to embody that, because I was really getting quite upset yesterday about the fact that, you know, my supervisors had all these fantastic suggestions, which they were clear in saying were suggestions and not like things that I had to do because they told me to, but that I also felt like were impossible to do all of in the time I've got left. And also, like, even if I did those suggestions, I feel as though if I sent it again, they'd just have more, because there is always more you can do. This is like a massive project, and the thing about PhD theses is that a lot of the time they might then get published as monographs, and the monographs look significantly different to the original thesis. They get rewritten and adapted again. So yeah, I'm channeling my inner Jose and trying to like just let go, just like accept that I can't do everything, but still do what I can. And right now I'm trying to write the abstract, because I'm realizing I haven't done that, and your thesis is required to have an abstract, which, well, is basically the summary of the PhD for the people reading it before they go into it, and it's 300 words, and it's basically a reiteration of things I've already said, but in a condensed way, and that isn't just copied and pasted from the body of the text. So I'm trying to do that. And that's where we're at, and I'm absorbing some vitamin D, and yeah, it's all going to be fine. We'll see. I might cry again tonight, but for now, we're getting on with things. So I wrote my abstract, and I know some of you are probably, or were probably, hoping for a little bit more thesis info in this video, so I thought I'd read it to you. I will say I might change it. Submission isn't for 4 or 5 days yet, so this was just my first draft of the abstract. This thesis identifies and examines a cross-section of passages from democratic Athenian oratory that reference mythological incidents of sexual violence against women. These 4 passages come from 4 politically motivated public speeches delivered during the 4th century BCE. In analysing these passages within the context of the literary depictions of these myths elsewhere, and the political environment of the speeches themselves, this study highlights the existence of a rhetorical technique employed during the Athenian democracy that is yet to be widely recognised. This technique employs recognisable characters and stories from myth and adapts them according to contemporary Athenian values and attitudes. It is subsequently employed by orators to appeal to a sense of shared identity among Athenians that paints an idealised version of Athens as defenders of women in opposition to the imagined other or barbarian. Chapter 1 focuses on Demosthenes' use of the sisters Procne and Philomelas' vengeance on the man who assaulted Philomelas sexually as role models for the Athenian soldiers who died fighting the Macedonians at Chaeronea. Chapter 2 explores the comparison drawn by Hyperides between the Greeks who rescued Helen from Troy and the contemporary Athenian soldiers whom he frames as having saved numerous Greek women from a fate similar to Helen's. Finally, Chapter 3 focuses on the use of the sexual assault of Alcippe and the subsequent acquittal of her father Ares for the murder of her attacker by 2 different orators, Demosthenes and Dinarchus, as an example of the greatness of the Athenian justice system. Through politicizing these incidents of sexual violence against women from Greek myth, this rhetorical technique thus incorporates sexual violence against women into construction of the idealized democratic Athenian identity. Idealized because these values are not always reflected in reality. As I say constantly throughout this thesis, my research has very much been on rhetoric, not on reality. So it's about women and the use of women and sexual violence in rhetoric, not about how these women are genuinely treated. But yeah, that's my abstract. I have sent it to my supervisor to see if she can quickly have a look at it while she also signs a form I need her to sign. I need my director of studies to sign a form to be allowed to submit my thesis, basically. So hopefully she'll be able to read it, but also the form is obviously the more important part on her end, especially given that technically she's on leave until Thursday, so fingers crossed. She'll know she has to sign that form, so that should be fine. And I still, even if she comes back on Thursday or Friday, that's fine, because I'm not submitting till Sunday. But yeah, it's 1:00 now and I'm feeling very tired. I'm just constantly tired, to be honest, and I still have a ton of work to do, so I'm gonna have my lunch though, and rest and chill for a minute, and then get back to actually editing the things I still need to edit in the thesis. I mean, there's still a bunch of footnotes that are a mess. There's still some sentences that I need to elaborate on. There's still stuff, but it's only Tuesday. I still have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I feel like I don't really have Sunday because that's actually submission day and how much am I going to do, but I can definitely leave some stuff till Sunday morning, like updating bibliographies, because there's things I need to add into that, and that I can do on Sunday. So yeah, there's time. We've reached that point where I'm crying, and I'm not even crying about stress, although I'm sure that doesn't help, but I just wrote the acknowledgements for my thesis. Then naturally, the biggest acknowledgement goes to my dad, because he's the one that introduced me to ancient history and made me love history, and who nurtured that passion in me as a child and a teenager. So yeah, just very sad that he passed away whilst I was still studying. Please tell me why, with 4, 5, 3, can't remember any more days left to finish my PhD, I would get my period, and I knew it was coming, but it's just so sore. I kept getting woken up during the night by stomach cramps. I mean, fortunately, typically for me, my stomach cramps are only really bad for a day, but it is still a day of, trying to do my PhD where I've got really bad stomach cramps, so well, I have to soldier on, there's not much else choice, but it does feel a little bit like, good afternoon from me and my hot water bottle. It's 11:30 and I've achieved nothing except pain. I am not having a fun period day, and I'm sleep deprived and everything else. If I was wondering whether I would make every single change or do every possible thing that could possibly be done to this thesis before deadline, I know the answer now. It's a no, because life just happens, and that's kind of been my whole experience of writing a PhD, to be honest. Life happens. It's a long period of time you spend doing a PhD. It's a big research project, and the rest of your life carries on in the background or at the forefront often, and basically every step of the way there's been something getting in the way for me. It's, yeah. I mean, a lot of you have been here for it all. I mean, obviously, already talked about it earlier in this video. My dad got very ill while I was doing my PhD. I cared for him. He passed away. All of that happened while I was doing my PhD. We all experienced a worldwide pandemic and are still dealing with that partially as a society. Life has just happened. Wonderful things have happened too, don't get me wrong, over the past 6.5 years. But there's a lot of hurdles on the way. And this little week has been a testament to that in things like periods. It's just like a reminder that you can plan as much as you want. You can have an idea of what's going to happen as much as you want. But sometimes things happen and they interfere with that. And instead you lie on a sofa with a hot water bottle until you can get your brain in gear to actually do something. And I'm sure I will achieve something today. Get further in my editing, but it's gonna be a slow one. It is what it is at this point. We're so close to the end that as long as I can do my best and submit it, then I'll be happy. And my best is whatever I can do whilst on my period. So yes.
I love fresh air so much. I feel so much better. Going outside for walks is really important.
So period cramps have eased off today, thank goodness. And I'm actually managing to get a bit more done than I did yesterday, although I did get some done. I'm just cracking on. I think it's going to be a few late evenings over the next 3 nights, I think it is, before submission. Just because you'll not feel like, or I'll not feel like I've done everything I could possibly do or everything that might aid in obviously the best thesis possible if I'm not kind of committing as much time as possible in the next few days. Like, that's not to say I'm not taking hours off and I'm zoning out constantly, but for that reason I think I'm just going to stay up quite late, particularly tonight and tomorrow, because then I'm hoping by Saturday evening I'll actually feel like it's done, and I'm not literally still editing until like the night before and the morning of. I can sort of maybe stop on Saturday evening if I just stay up late. So yeah, that's the plan for the next couple of days. I am knackered, like absolutely knackered, but I am also so thrilled that it's going to be over soon. Like, that's amazing to me. I've also deteriorated into like my inner child, if that makes sense. All I can think about at the moment is toys. I just like wish I had more toys. I've been doing Legos, but I don't just want Legos. Like, I was sitting there the other day thinking to myself, why did I sell all my brats on eBay when I was a teenager so I could buy whatever teenagers buy, probably some crap clothes that didn't fit me after a year, or I don't know, cheap Lamborghini from the off license, whatever I was buying when I was that age. Because I wish I'd thought more longevity wise and considered what I would still want when I was 30, because it's not the Lamborghini and it's not the crap clothes, it's the Bratz. I wish I still had the Bratz dolls, okay? Like, I wish I just had all my dolls, the Bratz dolls specifically. I didn't really like any other dolls. I was a My Little Pony girl through and through, and then for dolls it was Bratz, and I could sit and like style all their little outfits, you know, embrace that passion for fashion. I don't know why I got in my head. I think it's because I started getting some like adult Bratz TikTok, and there's nothing like weird or seedy. Like, when I say adult, I just literally mean like people my age who've decided, hey, I'm gonna play with toys again, because like, why not? You know, be kind to your inner child, and why should toys just be for children? Yeah, so like, this is where we're at in the PhD. My brain has gotten so foggy and tired and distracted that now I wish I had brats to play with. Like, there's no rhyme or reason or sense anymore. There's just my desire to go to a massive toy shop and like buy everything I would have wanted to buy when I was 10, but didn't have the money for. Probably still don't have the money for, not all of it, but that's what I want to do. That's like my dream right now. We'll see if I still feel like that next week, but yeah. So please tell me I'm not the only adult here that kind of just wishes they could set up a massive doll's house in a room along with all their ponies and Legos and play with it all day. Please tell me I'm not alone. Honestly, I have nothing left to say. 2 sleeps to go. This has to be the most unaesthetic avocado and bagel ever. But it's the final day of, well, the final full day. Tomorrow's submission day. So, you know, I've got myself a nice hearty lunch. I'm watching a little bit of Mentalist. And then I'm going to get more work done. It's lunchtime. I've been at work all morning. But yeah, look at my loaded purely with one thing lovely bagel. Very exciting. Honestly, I think I could cry. I think I am genuinely at the point where all that needs to be done is editing in the footnotes of the actual thesis. So I've got a bunch of footnotes where I've done stuff like this. It's not like formally written the way it should be, or it needs to be moved around, or it needs a proper citation and like a date, which also corresponds with me fixing up the bibliography, because, hang on, do I have the bibliography up? Hang on. My folder, this is it. Yeah, so like, oh, there was a bibliography. Okay, so the bibliography still has like some bits like this. It's like, cool, lovely. need to add in all of Gaka's work. And then there are also names that aren't in the bibliography at all. I need to go through the citations and put in, which, like, time-wise will take a bit. But, oh God, it's just kind of exciting to think that it's actually like the final point. Oh my God, I'm gonna drop my phone. Okay. I think I might have developed a permanent headache because that's what it feels like at this point. My head is so sore. I'm hoping that over the next few weeks / month after this is all submitted, I'm going to physically recover from all of this. Like, I will recover, but I hope it's speedy and like I'm able to relax a little bit. I do have work. I actually have quite a lot of work, but the difference is I'll be doing that work without a PhD hanging over my head. Like, I've been working this whole time, and that's been a lot to juggle. And now I'm going to be working, which is obviously still hard and you have to put a lot of effort in, but it's work that I enjoy. I'm working on a new children's book, but I won't have my PhD in the background. Like, I can just turn off and be like, oh, I've done that. I've done enough work today. Oh, there's no PhD that I have to spend this evening doing or this weekend doing. Oh my God. I'm so thrilled. So, do you know what? I'm excited to just have work to do. And I'm lucky that I do have some work lined up. Otherwise, I'd be much more worried coming out of the PhD without anything ahead of me. And I can hopefully, you know, like, start some new things and pursue new projects and everything with this off my plate. But for now, I've got a big project, like I said, new children's book. So I am going to be working, but I'm still hoping I'm going to be able to relax and chill out and de-wire my brain of whatever is going on in it right now. We're still working our way through footnotes, but I'm also waiting on my partner Chris to come and pick me up from my mum's because he's very kindly offered to drive me back to my flat, where we're going to eat pizza and chill out for an hour or two before I continue on with the typing. So yeah, I'm very lucky. I've got very supportive friends, family, my romantic partner. They're all wonderful, and they've been really supportive, particularly the past couple of weeks. So yeah, that's been great. But yeah, my head hurts. My body feels crap. But hey ho, it's all going to be over soon, and I can hopefully start to mend myself. Oh, also important update for anybody who's interested in my watching of The Mentalist. I know who Red John is. I got that far in the show. Big, like, you know, momentous occasion. So it all feels very apt that should happen the same weekend I submit my PhD. I know this TV show is not recent, and anyone who watched it originally knows who Red John is, and has done for a long time. But hey ho, good show, you should watch. I've lost my emails. Right, new message to the graduate school. Okay, I guess I should CC in my supervisors? I don't really know. I will. It just makes more sense. I don't know what the protocol is. PhD thesis submission?
Yeah.
Or submission of PhD thesis?
No, the first one.
Well, change it now, Chris. Okay, PhD thesis submission. Like, they don't tell you what to title the email. Okay, there's my exam form. Where's my thesis?
The picture behind you is askew and I feel like it fits the...
So this is my thesis. Jean Zakarski, Muniz, PhD thesis, the politicization of sexual assault in 4th century Athens. Make sure that's attached. Don't want this to be one of those emails where you don't add the attachment. I don't know, like, hi there? I don't know who I'm meant to address it to. Fine, to whom, it feels very formal, but...
Oh, it doesn't, you don't need to do that for me, just
To
say...
whom it may concern. That just seems, no, I'm just, because it's just a normal person, man,
just
an
say-
email address.
You just say, hello, comma.
Hi there.
Oh, hi there.
Please find attached my final PhD thesis for submission, as well as my RDCom 10 form.
Presumably all the information is in the form
Yeah,
that they
that's
would
got
need.
like
So
my student number, my department, my supervisors, all of that kind of stuff, all the signatures. Please be in touch. My PhD thesis for submission, as well as my RD. I hope everything is in order. Please let me know if you need anything else from me. Thank you. Best wishes, Jean. Like, that feels very, I don't know, do you know what I mean?
it seems very reasonable.
No, it just seems very like casual.
But that's fine.
Here's my PhD thesis.
Doesn't need to be.
I feel like I'm missing something from this email that's important, but it doesn't say anything else in the
You got all the information.
handbook.
You got all the information needed in the form.
And I've CC'd my supervisor, so if there's a mistake, they'll probably tell me, right?
Yeah.
It's a Sunday, so like, obviously no one's going to be manning the emails today, so I'm not going to get anyone confirming that it's all okay today, and then I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow, and I'm going to be worrying. I just press send.
Have you done it?
It says it's sent.
How do you feel?
Like something's gone wrong. Like, I don't know.
Oh.